I'm Antonique Villard, and you are watching Eliot Kelly TV. Never lose your passion.
And there's a beautiful poster of a girl looking out at this guy on the boat bringing the beer in. And the Sands family they started in the 1800s servicing boats, so that's their motto. Anyway, the girl is looking out onto the water in the poster, and on her backside is a handprint of, like, so the guy kind of like was teasing. The guy kind of smacked her backside and got in the boat, and she's waving him off. And people love that he did it.
Welcome to another dynamic episode of Eliot Kelly TV. I have the distinguished pleasure today to be greeted by Miss Sarah Kirkby. We have Sarah Kirkby in the house from Barefoot Marketing. Barefoot Marketing actually delivers fully integrated marketing strategies to businesses all across the Bahamas. Welcome to Eliot Kelly TV.
Thank you. And as I said, I'm very honored to be interviewed and on your television show. Lovely.
Thank you so much. Our topic today is, can you hear me now? We want to help persons that probably can't get their message out or struggle to get their message out, their brand out. And we're going to share with the expert herself. Sarah's going to give us some tips. But before that happens, share your marketing background with us, please.
Sure. So actually, when I was in college, I was going to I did study broadcasting. And I wanted to be the next Jane Pauley, which might be a little bit way back for you. So that would be like the current would be Savannah and what's her name? I'm a big NBC and Hoda Copy, right? Okay. I kind of wanted to do that. But as I got into my studies and stuff, I really started to like the marketing side of it, and the ads and design. My mom was an art teacher, still is an art teacher. And I always loved doing artwork. So I find the graphics part really easy. I don't actually create the graphics, but I'm good at the editing and kind of design and coming up with ideas. So when I finished school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had Bahamian citizenship and I had British. So I went back to England for a while. I worked all over England because you need so many jobs to live in England because it's so expensive. And then I decided I wanted to come home. And when I came home, I started selling t-shirts and doing odd jobs until I could get into a marketing job. And I did with Colombian Emeralds International. At the time, they were huge. They had 26 stores and all these different islands. I worked for a great guy called Steve Crane, who's still selling jewelry today under Amaro. And he was a really good taskmaster. I didn't spend all my time with him, but he always made sure you returned every phone call. You followed up every lead. It was great. And it was the best training I ever could have had. And he also offered training, which is a big part of, I think, how you keep on top of this game in marketing, to keep going. So eventually I decided I wanted to do it on my own. People were asking me outside of the company to do their marketing and PR. So I decided to do it. And a friend of mine and I started our own company. We called it Fox New Media. And his name was Fox. I wanted to do new media. And then he decided he didn't want to do it too much. It's a struggle when you start your own company. So we decided to take over it. My grandmother told me the name was horrible and I had to change it. So we went for a walk on the beach, my husband and I, and we came up with the name Barefoot Marketing. My grandmother approved. And so then that's how we started the company under a new name. And luckily we've been doing it ever since. So pretty scary to think I've been doing it for my own company for 22 years.
Great. That's awesome. Hopefully Grammy's watching the show, and shout out to Grammy in the back there as well. All right. What is the greatest challenge for you in the business?
I think the greatest challenge is money. It's financing. I don't love doing financing. I can balance my checkbook, but I'm not one of those, fastidious people about it. I keep going back, and I'm a spender by nature, which is not really good. So the hard part is balancing when you think you're making money and you think, oh, I can spend a little bit more. I can buy a new computer. I can bring in another staff member, you really have to stop and measure it out. And I've grown. I've gotten up to 8 staff at one point. Right now I'm back down to 5 with COVID. And you just have to really know. I mean, I've made mistakes, silly ones on financing, and they catch up with you. But if you pay them off slowly and get yourself back in, you do well. I got very lucky. I started with a $10,000 loan. I've had 2 other loans and kept going. The biggest mistake for me, financial wise, is that I didn't buy my own office. I wasn't confident enough that I could do it. And after 22 years, I could have done it. I could have used that rent money and paid a mortgage and had my own building. So I do get a bit mad at myself for that. I still am thinking and looking to buy one. That's my biggest financial mistake. But finances, you have to be on top of it. You can bring in people to do your accounts, but if you trust too much of them, and I have a habit of doing that, it never works out. You've got to be able to go back and check your balances, know what your billing is. So that would be my advice.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, Sarah. What does success mean to you?
Success means to me that I have that I'm happy in my job, that I'm completing the tasks that I need to get done for the day, that people think I know what I'm doing, and that my staff feel confident in me as well. Marketing ebbs and flows. So, the first thing that normally gets cut when things in budgets is marketing. So you got to really fight for those dollars. It's when it rains, it's like it's really good. So you have to be smart about yourself when your success. You need to stockpile and never. I got to a point, I think one time, where I thought, I have enough clients, I'll be fine. But you can never. It changes, and it can change overnight. I've been to points where I've had so many clients I can't keep up, and then the next day you turn around and you lose 3 because they've cut something, or so. Success for me is when I can breathe, my accounts are good. And of course, whenever I get a new account, I buy myself a new handbag. So then I'm very happy.
A spender, definitely a spender. Now we know.
I have to work for that reward. I have trained myself on that.
Hi, my name is Miles Maroon Jr., and you're watching Eliot Kelly TV. Never lose your passion.
The reason we connected with you, Sarah, is because of your humility. Out of all of your accolades, you still remain very grounded. Can you share some of that wisdom with our audience? 3 steps what they can take today to get themselves out of obscurity so persons can hear their story?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think in these COVID times, people need to switch what they're doing. This is not the time. You have to look at where your marketing is and where you're promoting yourself and change that right now. So for me, we're telling all our clients, you need to get social. It's affordable, but people are online more now, more than anything. They're paying bills online, which in the Bahamas, we hate to do. And in Europe, of course, they do it all the time. But here it's new. So you need to get in their face. And believe it or not, the Bahamas has one of the highest social media percentages in the whole of the Caribbean. So we've got a higher end client to reach out to that are on computers. So for me, it's social media, and social media changes so fast. So what was cool, like on Snapchat last week, is some other new program. So what we do in our office, and I got this from a friend of mine, is we do a social media training every week. And then you can get them free, they're out there, but we signed up for a package through Social Media Examiner. And every week we do a lesson to try and teach us to improve things. So the thing is, for small business, I think you can never, you never want to be set in how you do stuff. You have to change. So I do that for myself. So I'm changing as well, how I promote myself. So I used to not want to say what Barefoot was doing or who our clients were. Now I shout it out. This is my client. This is what we've done. This is the ad campaign. You try and do that as well. The other thing is word of mouth will never, ever beat any advertising that I could ever do for you. Word of mouth is the best. So you have to get out there. And for small businesses, that means you need to be at Chamber of Commerce events. You need to go and attend openings. You need to meet with people and work at it. I think the connection is, like you had mentioned, making connections. So you're my new connection, and we've now reached out on Facebook to each other, and those connections are what gets you to the other jobs. They'll know something that you'll want, or you need something from me, and that works out, and then they recommend you. Nothing beats a personal recommendation. And for me, when I started going to do work in Nassau, I would work for one company and then just leave. I don't do that now. Now I go back and see multiple companies because the people I've started working for promote me. And what's the third thing is, be honest with yourself about how your business is doing.
Hi, I'm D'Angelo Duncan, and you're watching Eliot Kelly TV. Never lose your passion.
When you're not doing well, you got to cut costs. You got to do it. I failed a little bit sometimes with that. I'm getting better. But you have to be honest with if you've done something wrong as well. And that's the hard part. I find people don't know how to say sorry if they've made a mistake. That's the easiest thing to do. And if I tell a client I'm going to have a proposal for you on Tuesday and I don't get it on Tuesday, then I need to apologize when I deliver it on Wednesday. So that humility, like, to me, is something you have to do. And if it doesn't go well, you have to accept if it's your mistake. I hope that made sense.
Tell us about one of your greatest success stories as far as a testimonial.
Oh, wow. Geez, one of my success stories. I can tell you a funny one.
Go on. I'm here for it.
So this will hopefully only a couple people know this, but might ruin it now. So we'll see. I work for Sands Beer, which is a truly Bahamian beer of the Bahamas. Luckily, they started producing beer again 2 weeks ago. So exciting to get back after their huge damage. But I started working for them when they first started. And I was introduced to Jimmy Sands, the owner, through another client who brought me on. And I have worked for them ever since they opened. I think it's 2009. Hopefully I have the right date there. And when they opened, it was, we had a huge opening. And it was the days when, you can have openings and people could be in the same room with each other. And the prime minister at the time was Hubert Alexander Ingram. And he came and he was hysterical because he said he had no problem that he thought the beer would sell well because he'd never met anyone who drank as much as Jimmy and his family. So it would be great. Yeah. And we had a huge rush out and it was great. And we started the ad campaign. And the ad campaign was pretty simple. It was just the beer. And there's a beautiful poster of a girl looking out at this guy on the boat bringing the beer in. And the Sands family they started in the 1800s servicing boats. So that's their motto. Anyway, the girl is looking out onto the water in the poster, and on her backside is a handprint of so the guy kind of the guy kind of smacked her backside and got in the boat and she's waving him off. And people love that he did it. The scary part is that's my handprint. So it ruins it for most people, but and I just find it hysterical because the poster was very popular and we had so many people requesting to have the poster and they're like, oh, I love that handprint. And I'm like, that's great. Not telling them that I had, done that. And trust me, it was done properly with the model. So I guess that's a fun one. And they're fun.
That is hilarious.
Yeah.
How can we get in contact with you and how can our audience get in contact with you?
So I'm on LinkedIn, which is really the new big one for business that you need to be on, and that's how you reach to me. We're Barefoot Marketing's on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. Though I am not a Twitter fan, but we are on Twitter. And so you can reach out to us there. We also have a property management company called Barefoot Locations. And we also have an online newsletter / Facebook page. So that's called 242 News Bahamas. We reach 20,000 readers every week with a Thursday newsletter. And we also have a Facebook page that backs it up because it used to have a website, but I cut my spending and went for a Facebook page. So yeah. So
you cut your spending.
Yeah, I'm getting better. I have a very good accountant now, and she watches my pennies, and she busts me when I spend money.
What does the future hold for Barefoot Media?
I think for us, I I really enjoy social media a lot. I'd like to do a little bit more video work. So we're looking into that. And you can produce your own videos now really affordably with these great programs that are out there. And, I don't want to take the business away from people that do it full time, but there are some great programs. And for me, the one thing I really learned as of late is training. I hadn't done a lot in like the first 10 years of my business. I was kind of just doing it by myself. And then a friend of mine had pushed me. She said, we need to go to a training seminar. We need to. I'm like, I know what you have to do, but you don't. And there's new things out there all the time. So I'm not afraid anymore now to get advice from other people and to listen. And I always find no matter how much you listen to a podcast, or I always find one or two things that I think I could tweak and do differently. So like last time we learned that, being so in social media, people tend to get a little bit corporate, but what they really want to see is still a social thing. They want to see pictures of people. So we've started highlighting old staff that have worked with us, like interns or girls that have come in and then they've gone on to other jobs. And we have done so well on social media by doing that. And I think we got 50% more hits last month with those posts starting than we did before. So it's training and learning, right? All the time. And I really do enjoy the social media side of it and teaching myself how to do that. So, yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. If you haven't had an opportunity as yet, you can get in contact with our books, which are actually The Eye of the Needle, The Cost of Success, as well as Ahead of the Storm. We're doing a 2-for-1 special at the moment. It's $49 US. That's The Eye of the Needle, The Cost of Success, as well as Ahead of the Storm. You can email myself at eliotlkelly@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on Instagram as well at Eliot Kelly Official. Remind us again, Sarah, your details.
Sure. And before we do that, remember to send me the flyer information and I'll put it on my newsletter for free.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for that, Sarah.
Reciprocal advertising. So you can reach us on Barefoot Marketing on our website. You can get us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And my tip for you is really get on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, get on there. It's been big for the last 2 years, but now it's really doing well.
Thank you for that, Sarah. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, Lord. All my staff and the many staff that have come before them. I have some very patient staff and they're wonderful. I'm very, very blessed to have some strong women in my life and I love it. And just a shout out to anybody who's ever used us and supported us, because every client is someone that you want to make sure you can get back in the future,
Thank you so much. Our quote is sent by Stephen. Stephen is actually in Missouri. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Content is fire and social media is gasoline. Thank you so much for that, Stephen. You've been watching Eliot Kelly TV with Sarah Kirkby, all the way from the Bahamas with Barefoot Marketing. Never lose your passion.